Hey everyone, it's Mr. Studd coming at you with a video on Unit 2, Lesson 6 in Comp Sci. Today we're just going to talk about variables. So let's go ahead and get started. As we've talked about quite often, variables are an essential way to store data um, and use them again and again. So here's something we're going to work with. We're going to predict and run this, but that's fine. Essentially, what I want to show you, and we've already been working with this, is there's a couple different things to know, and we need to know the different data types. So we have int for integers, double for decimals, boolean for true false, and string is just simply for text. And there's various ways to print them. I'm going to go ahead and run this, and we'll see if there's anything going on that's out of the ordinary. And it looks like anything special, we're just going to print all of those things. So all we're doing is merely assigning values to the variables straight up in the tester class, and we're just showing them. All right. So then all we need to do is just investigate with this. And I think there's a couple things that we need to do. Really, the thing I'm going to have you focus on is how do you first, how do you display these, which we already see from the printing, but also how we're going to go ahead and use some of the data. So I'm going to take a minute to just show you some examples of this. And you can also use the activity guide. So one thing I'll notice in the activity guide is we're on level 2, and there's a couple things they want you to add. So you're going to have to refer to the activity guide, which I'm happy to post. But essentially, this is what's happening. The first thing it says is add this code. Temperature equals 75.8. And then it says welcome greeting equals new string welcome to CSA. And then it wants me to print these out. Updated temperature. And we're going to use a plus sign to concatenate with the actual temperature variable. And then we're going to do the same thing again. And then we're going to go ahead and print the updated welcome greeting to be welcome greeting. Oh, it looks like it wants it in one word. I don't know if that was a typo from code.org, but there we have it. Now it wants me to run. Okay, so I'm going to run this, and we're going to come into, oh, obviously I spelled, sorry, my bad, misspelled that word. I was wondering why the new keyword didn't come up as purple like it normally does. When we run this, we're going to get a host of errors, and clearly one that I did was not include the semicolon. Whoopsie. Let's go and run it again. All right. So right now it's going to go ahead and say welcome greeting, welcome to Java, and then it's going to say updated temperature, and then we're going to do updated welcome greeting, welcome to CSA. Something didn't happen. Welcome greeting. Okay, updated welcome greeting. I'm just trying to see what do we do here. Okay. So kind of looking at all this, it's my bad. I was just trying to find out where my code was. So we did updated temperature, updated welcome greeting, plus I forgot to do the space bar. My bad. There we go. That'd be a little bit cleaner. So we're just trying to show what the values of the variables are. There we go. Okay. So we have the updated temperature, updated welcome greeting. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find out what is going on with these variables. So let's take a look at the code before we just move on. So originally the temperature was 89.3, and somehow we updated to be 75.8. Well, that makes sense. Originally up here, I had declared a temperature of 89.3, and we went ahead and this is going to do two things. One is it's going to go ahead and it's going to declare and assign value to the variable. So that's done. Okay. Same thing with Boolean status. Same thing with int score. So you're killing two birds with one stone. Instead of being like private double temperature in a different class, we're just going to go ahead and declare it all right here. And that's it. So we're just merely updating those variable values. Welcome greeting. Originally it said welcome to Java. Now we're going to go ahead and update it to welcome to CSA. Now, something we should pay attention to here, okay, is we had welcome greeting to begin with. It was a string. And so let's think about this. Welcome greeting is what? Is it just a variable or is it an object? Well, here's where it gets kind of interesting. Look at score, temperature, and status. Those are all variables. You might be wondering, Southern, where's the public or private? Right? And the answer is you don't need public or private. Why is that? Well, it's because we're in the tester class. This is the quarterback, right? It's the one that runs all of the code. If this were in a different class and I'm using the tester class to run it, that's where we need to worry about public or private. Okay. So we're not worried about like whether or not it's what the accessor method is. But we can go ahead and declare it and initial or go ahead and assign values. So everything's good there. If we look at string, though, we see that string hello greeting equals hello world. Okay, that's no different than any other variable we've worked with. But I want you to pay attention to what's going on line 8. So we did string welcome greeting. So that shows me it's a variable. But check this out. Instead of just writing hello world, there's a new keyword with string again, and it says welcome to Java. Now, at first glance, it's like, I think there's going to be an error because this is not anything like we've done before where I've declared a variable, right? We've always done private string welcome greeting, and then later on we filled it in with the value. Well, here we're doing string welcome greeting, again, the variable name, and it's a new string. Okay, so this is going to come down to a couple things. One is int, double, and boolean are all instant, or they're all primitive data types. String is a little bit different. Why that is string deals with just text. So you'll learn later that every single one of these letters and spaces and punctuation points, anything that's inside the quotations has a very unique identifier. It has its own space in terms of the order, and it also has its own like corresponding kind of attachment with its symbol. Because string is a non-primitive data type, we can actually use it in a lot of different ways, different than we can int, double, and boolean, in that we can actually create it as if it were a string object. So it's kind of cool. So you can do one of both ways and both work. So those are things you should be paying attention to as you go through this, right? It's kind of interesting. And that's really it. I'm kind of moving on, but one of the things I want you to pay attention to is how would you describe or use these data types? It's so important to know what's what. So for population of country, right? Population, that means those are integers, right? Because you can't have half a person. So that's an int. Two, we have shoe size. Again, that's an integer, right? Oh, I'm sorry, it's not an integer. You can have half sizes in shoes, right? So that has to be a decimal. I'm thinking, I'm a size 10 and a half or 11 and a half, right? So that's going to be double. So that's a tricky one. Three, phone number. It's a little bit weird. I'm thinking in my head, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then 7, 8, 9, 0, for example. There's a certain format. Do I need to do math with the numbers? And the answer is no. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it as a string. Oh, and obviously you can see right here for the teachers, for people like me who can't read, in case I need to look up the answers. So that's that. Hope this helps, and we'll keep practicing with variables.